now concerns that many of the people who currently work as farmers who produce food commercially in our country actually want to leave the business and stop farming. The Bureau for Food and Agricultural Policy says that 20%, 1 in 5 of the people it spoke to have said they want to stop farming. The research was carried out by the Bureau's Dr Kandas Cloete. Dr Cloete, good afternoon to you. Why do so many people want to stop farming?
Hi, Stephen. Yes, so we found that some of the factors that affect the decision to potentially quit in the next decade are retirement without succession, financial challenges, access to dependable labor, uncertainty regarding land reform policy, and concerns about rural safety. And so it really boils down to young people or younger generations not seeing themselves continuing in the current environment that they find themselves in, and then older people leaving and their children are not succeeding them on the farms.
I would imagine in most countries in the world this has really been the story of humanity. Parents farm, their children go to the cities, and what you end up with is fewer and fewer people farming. Is what we're seeing at the moment in South Africa different to what we've seen in the past and different to what we see in other places?
So what we see here is quite similar to what we see in other developed world countries. The US has the same issues. Europe has the same. What we see now is from 1953, we had about 119,000 producers, and from the most recent census in 2017, where the data became available in 2020, it was just a notch over 40,000. So we already had the consolidation of land from 1953 to 2017 being really visible, and that was one of the questions was, will this trend continue?
Do you find that there are differences in sector and in place? So, for example, if you're in the north of the country and you're producing nuts or tomatoes, do you find that actually many of those people are going to stay in that sector? I imagine anyone in citrus is going to stay in citrus, but maybe people in maize are leaving maize. Do you find there are differences according to sector?
Yes, we did. According to industry, we broke it down into field crops, livestock, and horticulture, and we have to contextualize the time period of the study, where we collected samples from end of 2017 until the beginning of 2019. So within that context of prices at that point in time and drought situations, we need to contextualize it in that sense. But in essence, it boiled down to about 14% of livestock, but 29% of veld area. So, which indicates to us that it leans more towards extensive livestock, and then almost 30%, 29% of field crop producers, or total area of field crops, and then around 16% of horticulture area would have become available in this decade going forward, with this 20% of producers planning to exit.
So what happens then? We have more concentration. You spoke about going, I think, from 140,000 to 40,000 over about 70 years. Does that affect prices? If you have more concentration, get closer and closer to a monopoly, does that affect food prices, or do you find that actually the price of food is so internationalized that it doesn't work like that?
Yeah, so what we see is that I split the data set at 10 million rand, and in the group that said they plan to exit, we didn't find any significant difference between over and under 10 million. But in the group that planned to stay, there was a definite leaning towards larger farms or bigger revenue. So it also, in this world price of food, we find that you need technology and changes in your infrastructure to keep up with the commodity prices of the day, and therefore it leans towards bigger farms. But also, I mean, if 20% of producers are planning to exit, it means that either existing producers, the other 80 can expand operations, or it means that it creates opportunity for 20% new producers to come into the industry.
Dr. Kandas Cloete, thank you, from the Bureau for Food and Agricultural Policy.